Champagne glasses clinked beneath the crystal chandeliers of the Metropolitan Fashion Gala, as Ethan Harper lifted his flute, pointing toward the crimson gown suspended at the center of the venue. "If you can get into that," he declared loudly, drawing attention to the masterpiece, "I'll marry you right here and now." Laughter erupted instantly. 200 attendees swiveled toward the target of the joke. Mia Thompson, 29 years old, a janitor. She stood stiffly in her oversized gray uniform, gripping her cleaning trolley as if it were the only anchor keeping her upright. Ethan Harper, age 42, Persian Gulf oil magnate, net worth $3 billion. Laughed too long and too loudly, like a man accustomed to the spotlight. His white gutra shifted as he spread his arms theatrically. "I'm not joking. Anyone got a pen and paper? Let's draft the contract right now." The gown he pointed at, a size 2, wasp waist, structured neckline, was the centerpiece of the show. Designed by the French couturier Laurent Beaumont, valued at $850,000. A garment sculpted for women carved in private gyms and sustained by nutritionists. It wasn't meant for someone who spent 12 hours pushing a mop to support her disabled mother. Heat rushed to Mia's face. Her dark skin flushed a painful red as she fought the rising tears. She had worked high-end events long enough to recognize the ritual, the wealthy turning humiliation into entertainment. "Come on, sweetheart," a woman in a gold gown called out mockingly. "Accept it. Single billionaires don't come every day." More laughter, cell phone flashes lit the room. "Metropolitan Gala, funny moments," someone typed for Instagram stories. Mia lowered her head and pushed her trolley toward the exit, knuckles white against the handle. "Hey, hold on," Ethan called after her, voice dripping with mocked concern. "Don't run, the deal stands. 30 days. If you squeeze into that dress, I'll honor my word." Applause thundered behind her like a stadium cheer. She didn't look back. She shoved through the service door and let it slam behind her, muting the noise. Only then, leaning against the cold wall between carts of folded linens, did she allow the tears to fall. But something inside her didn't fracture. It ignited. The humiliation boiled into something hotter and sharper: anger, resolve, vow. Her eyes, trained by years of studying couture before life derailed her dream, locked on to the crimson gown. It wasn't merely expensive fabric, it was structural engineering. And she could see what the others couldn't. A flaw in the stitching where the zipper met the waistline. A weakness. The dress wasn't just small, it was a cage built to enforce a body type. It would rip under the right pressure. Just like Ethan Harper's world. The goal wasn't losing weight, it was strategy. Because Mia Thompson wasn't just a janitor. 6 years earlier, she had been a scholarship student at Parsons School of Design with top grades and a future glowing ahead of her, until her mother had a stroke. Mia had abandoned everything to care for her, working 3 jobs to pay for therapy and medication. For 6 years, she endured humiliation because survival was more urgent than pride. But tonight changed everything. She wiped her face, steadied her breathing, and promised herself she would return in 30 days, not for a billionaire's hand, but to dismantle the illusion of power he worshipped. Ethan Harper believed he had mocked a nobody. Instead, he had awakened someone with nothing to lose. That night, Mia sat in her Bronx kitchen, opened her battered laptop, and typed, "Ethan Harper Scandals." The screen exploded with articles, oil ventures, yachts, designer galas. But Mia dug deeper, using Boolean searches she had mastered while researching fabric patents in school. She found archived complaints, whistleblower forums scrubbed from public record but still buried in server caches, environmental crimes, bribery, harassment, corporate silencing. Ethan wasn't a rich bully. He was a criminal. At 5 a.m. the next morning, Mia stepped into a rusted, un-air-conditioned gym 2 blocks from her apartment. Rita, the owner and former boxer, raised an eyebrow as Mia stood at the entrance. "I need to fit into a size 34 gown in 30 days. "And why is that?" "Because someone bet I couldn't." Rita smiled. "Then we'll make that jerk eat his own words, but you'll follow my orders. Every day, no excuses." Training became her battleground. Running at dawn, weights at dusk, precision endurance without mercy. She didn't sculpt a dress size. She forged a weapon. At night, after caring for her mother, she investigated, tracked financial transfers, mapped shell companies, and contacted victims. That's how she found Yara Mansour, Ethan Harper's former executive secretary who had sued him 3 years prior. 2 hours after Mia messaged her, Yara called. "You're the woman from the video. 2 million views and most people are on your side." They met in Queens. Yara's eyes were steel. "Ethan keeps dossiers on everyone, insurance against exposure. The real evidence is stored in his lawyer's apartment, a safe behind a false wall. Dual key system, one physical key hidden inside the hotel." Yara slid a number across the table. Jamal, his former driver, 8 years, fired for knowing too much. When Mia met him, Jamal's voice broke as he spoke of his daughter. Harassed, silenced, blacklisted. "If you're going to destroy him, I'll help you." And he did. He revealed the exact location of the backup key, the access codes, the 90-second window to disable security cameras. All the invisible pathways only a worker could know. 28 days after the humiliation, Mia was transformed. 18 pounds lighter, sharper, unrecognizable. But she didn't smile for vanity, only purpose. The gala's closing charity auction arrived. The crimson gown stood under a spotlight. Cameras flashed as limousines lined the entrance. Mia arrived in a plain black dress she stitched herself, posture regal and unshaking. Ethan circulated the ballroom, peacocking. When Mia approached, he squinted, unable to place her, until she spoke. "Do you remember me?" His face drained. 30 days. "I might try on the gown now, or shall I do it in front of everyone?" Whispers spread. Phones rose. "You don't want to do this," he muttered. "Oh, I do." She lifted her phone. 2 million views. Shall we make it 3? Cameras snapped. Women formed a semicircle behind her. Yara, Sarah, Nina, and Ela, his own cousin, silenced with $2 million. Gasps filled the room. Mia signaled to the projector. Emails appeared, bank transfers, explicit messages, payoff records. And then a progress bar began to climb. "These are the backup files Jamal is uploading right now." Silence, stunned, terrified. The audio system played Ethan's recorded voice. "If she won't take the deal, destroy her reputation. I don't care how." The room erupted. Reporters wrote furiously. Ethan collapsed inward as security approached, not for Mia, for him. "Mr. Harper, you need to come with us." His world imploded. Deals canceled, arrests issued, evidence everywhere, live streamed. And Mia. She stood in the center, breathing evenly, holding the room in absolute command. "I fit the gown yesterday," she said quietly. "Perfect size 34. So technically, you owe me a marriage. But I don't want a wedding. I want accountability and respect for every woman you ever tried to break." Applause thundered like an earthquake. 3 months later, in the Bronx, Mia worked at a new sewing station donated by designers who admired her. Her mother's voice echoed from the living room. "Honey, they're talking about you again." The news anchor announced Ethan's sentencing. 3 years for bribery and obstruction. A $50 million compensation fund for victims. His empire dissolved. His family disowned him. His suits grew cheaper with each court appearance. He had become what he feared most, irrelevant. Mia didn't celebrate. She simply breathed. She received a full scholarship to finish her degree. Fashion houses sought her expertise. The crimson gown was auctioned for $1.2 million to fund education for underprivileged women. She made her own gowns, 12 of them, each inspired by a woman who stood beside her. One rainy afternoon, a letter arrived, handwritten. Mia, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But your courage forced me to see myself clearly for the first time in decades. I saw a monster. I'm serving my punishment, but the greater punishment is knowing the harm I caused. You didn't destroy me. You exposed me. And that was more mercy than I ever showed anyone. Mia folded the letter once and placed it in a drawer, not as a trophy, but as closure. The world called her a warrior, but she didn't win because she broke him. She won because she rebuilt herself. And she